Hi, Leona. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very good. So you are into real estate from past 2 years, right?
Yes, that's correct. I've been working with White & Co. in the commercial department for just over 2 years.
Wonderful. And you're looking after which area?
So predominantly I focus on business bay commercial. I can operate kind of all over Dubai, but I tend to just stick with the one area logistically.
That's a nice area to pick, because usually business bay, when we talk about business bay, I think everyone knows about business bay. People coming to Dubai, they know what business bay is.
As far as if Dubai was to have a city centre, so to speak, Business Bay is kind of where it falls because it falls between downtown and the marina.
Right.
So I think, yes, for businesses, it's a perfect place for them to locate themselves to operate from, yeah.
Right, right. So you selling business bay from past 2 years?
From the minute I started, yeah, my bread and
Wonderful.
butter.
I think you're into commercial.
Yeah, solely commercial. That's all I have ever done in my 2 years with White & Co. I decided to get into commercial quite early on, and ever since I've been focusing on Business Bay.
Very nice. So what's the commercial scene like? What is it like? How many people are coming in? What kind of people are coming in? What business do they want to open?
So generally, there's been a massive influx of people coming to Dubai generally. Last year, in 2024, there was 70,000 new build businesses registered.
That's a big number.
At the end of 2024, that equated to being over 1 million businesses in Dubai as it is.
That's a lot.
So we're seeing a lot of people coming. We're getting a real diverse range of businesses coming.
But don't you think that's too much?
I
70,000 is that's
70,000 is,
So you're talking about the registered business, that is 70,000 business.
yeah,
That's registered. That's a lot.
it's astronomical when you think about it, yes.
Yeah.
And you think, how are these all going to succeed? How are they all going to operate? How are they all going to find areas and spaces to run their businesses from? Because there is a scarcity of offices in Dubai as a whole. So when you hear that 70,000 new businesses have just opened, it's insane. Where are they going?
But Leona, just generally talking about business bay, don't you think whenever you land in Dubai, firstly Dubai's image, what they've created, the image as well, what they've actually built in, let's say, 55 years, 60 years approximately. Business bay is one of the most attractive place to be in. When you just land, when you're driving on Sheikh Zayed Road, you see all of those buildings. Oh, you're mesmerized. You're like, damn, this is Dubai. So it just attracts you. Business bay calls you itself.
Dubai thrives of convenience, and I think that's why people love Business Bay, because it's got, like you say, you're driving, you're coming from the airport, you see all these skyscrapers, you see the Burj Khalifa.
That's really fun.
The reason and a lot of the selling points for people wanting to take offices in Business Bay is the logistics. You're close to downtown.
Right.
Some of them offices will have the Burj Khalifa view.
Right.
And it gives just a real commercial hub that you don't find anywhere else in Dubai.
Right.
People like that element of familiarity. If you're bringing your business from the likes of London or Singapore or Hong Kong, you want that Canary Wharf kind of feel, don't you? Not every business can go to DIFC because they don't have the license.
Yeah.
The second point then is Business Bay.
Yeah.
And whilst there isn't enough towers there at the minute, there is some absolutely stunning towers which people are absolutely snapping up to try and get
Which
offices in. My personal favourites would be the likes of Opus is next level.
Zaha Hadid.
Gorgeous.
Of course.
Absolutely
nailed it.
gorgeous. And
That's outstanding. Omniat.
incredible. So Omniat, generally, the buildings are all very good, but I would say my personal favourites, if you have to go to Business Bay, would be Opus or the Anantara Oberoi Centre as well,
That's very
because they both give high-end premium.
But I also think about one thing really which excites me about Business Bay is that it's just not, it's named as Business Bay. So, you have that business thing in it. But then I think it's residential. MR is just, that's literally owned by MR. MR's building is there, Damac is there, so many, Omniat is there. But then when you are considering business to be there, I think it really comes up because there are so many restaurants. Dubai Mall is right near to it. So, that place literally calls you. You want to go out for, let's say, lunch, for a business meeting. You have a person coming in, or, you can just take him out for lunch. And I think Business Bay gives the best of, let's say, hospitality,
I would
shopping.
completely agree with that. For example, like you've said, a lot of the office buildings are situated in between hotels. So if you don't want to bring your client to the office to discuss, you can like nip across the road to one of the hotels. And even more so, aside from the hotels, the retail, which obviously has immediate benefits for employees and owners of businesses, when it comes to where certain businesses can operate from in Dubai, the likes of, for example, a mainland license, which you need for Business Bay, you can only use that license then again in the likes of Motor City, which isn't as appealing, Arjan, not as appealing.
Right.
JBR. So it becomes kind of a no-brainer
Right.
to go there because it also has the metro.
Right.
So everything does kind of guide you towards Business Bay direction if you're going to bring your business to
But
Dubai.
since you're in commercial, can you just tell me a little bit about what kind of licenses and what are the rules for setting up business in Dubai, which is about mainland? Or probably you can just tell me about the difference between mainland.
Of course.
Yeah.
So the mainland license allows you to operate quite generally your commercial activity in a range of areas in Dubai. So you've got Business Bay, you have JBR, Marina,
Right.
Motor City, Arjan, parts of downtown as well before you overlap into the DIFC in
Right.
like territory. And people like these licenses because they're easier to obtain. If you have the right like PRO service, you can get these in maybe like 5 days, which
That's pretty quick.
is so quick in comparison to other
Yes.
places in the world.
Yes.
Then the other area you would have when it comes to commercial activity would be the JLT free zone, which comes under the DMCC license. Not as easy to obtain, expensive to obtain, longer process, and you can only operate out of there if you do a certain kind of commodity trading. So again, when you consider those two factors, if you can get one license in like 5 days for maybe 20,000, or you have to go down the long route and maybe wait months to get into JLT with no guarantee, again, it's why Business Bay essentially becomes a bit of a no-brainer.
Right. Right. But then when we look at Business Bay, what do you think the traffic you actually witnessed from the last 2 years, how much do you think has it increased when we talk about Business Bay? Not the literally car traffic, but the business coming in. The people are just wanting to get themselves stable, but they just kind of pick Business Bay. Why do they pick Business Bay? Why not anything else?
Again, I think it comes down to the element of familiarity. If you are aware that there is this commercial hub and this is where every other business is, whether it be general trading, there's a lot of marketing companies, accounts, quite a diverse portfolio of businesses are operating from there. It's almost you see it and you do it approach, if you get what I mean. Like people, there's no questions asked. I've heard my friend has a business in Business Bay, or this person has a business in Business Bay.
Reference.
Okay, we need to go there. And essentially as well, you're seeing so many different cultures come over. Given obviously the circumstances around the world, there was a massive influx of Russian clientele coming over to start businesses.
Right.
And then the likes of the OmniApp buildings, Opus, they absolutely love the interior, love the designs of them, and that's why people opt to go, because they're getting like a high-end premium
I get it.
feel,
Yeah.
which also kind of associates with the countries they've come from. For example, like if you're used to dealing in business in London or Canary Wharf, you're going to want to come somewhere that has the same feel, the same fast-paced dynamic,
Right.
the same traffic.
I swear to God.
So
I know
it
about
just
it,
seems common sense almost,
It does.
I would say.
That's a good thing. Okay, but then can you just also tell me about one more thing? Is it all rental, or you can just actually purchase a unit and just set up your own business?
Yeah, so it's completely it's completely at the person's discretion. Whether generally people who move over won't want to invest immediately into purchasing their own office. They'll take a rental office.
Right.
They'll see how things go, and then maybe later down the trajectory of their their businesses, they'll open up an office. So I would say the demand for the commercial units in Business Bay is primarily from rentals, because it will be from an investor, they'll buy, but generally people just tend to, at least for the first couple of years of their business,
Right.
rent.
So what you're saying right now is it's really beneficial for any investor as well to invest in Business Bay, because rentals are going to keep coming in, irrespective of anything else.
Absolutely. From an investor's point of view, I actually think commercial property is an absolute no-brainer. Obviously, people may be more familiar with going with the residential units, or perhaps looking into areas like JVC or the Marina, where they know they can get a studio, one bed,
Right.
and get that rented pretty quickly. But if you consider as well that I think the statistic is every 18 hours, a new off-plan project is announced for
Yes,
residential
it is.
in Dubai. That's not the case at all with
Right.
commercial
Right.
properties. I think there's been 2 announcements recently.
Which ones?
So they haven't actually technically been fully announced, but in the market, there's common knowledge that perhaps Omnia are going to be doing an off-plan project. And then there was one in Motor City, which was launched, I would say, a month ago, and is almost close to being totally sold out. But the price point of those projects don't always appeal to everyone, because generally they like you to buy full floors, so
Right.
you're having to put a lot of money in. But from an investor's point of view, if you can get a secondary market unit in Business Bay for a somewhat reasonable price,
What would be the reasonable price? For example, let's talk about commercial.
Okay.
What do you think the price per square feet is?
that will completely vary on what building you are going in. So
Let's pick a random figure. Let's say it could be the lowest to the highest.
yeah, so generally I would say the front line towers closest to the metro, if you're looking at the likes of Prism, Regal, Exchange, you're looking in the realms of maybe like 1,500 to 1,600 per square foot.
Right.
Is what people are asking. We obviously know that that's not always what's obtained, but
Correct.
that would be the price point. But that is still high in comparison to when I started real estate 2 years ago. People were not paying 1,600 per square foot for those units. But then on the flip side of that, if I was to compare that with Opus, where the last report I ran, the average price per square foot is 5,300
This is for rental or for purchase?
for purchasing, so 5,300 per square foot. And I actually know someone who sold in there for over 7,000 per square foot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's literally a lot. But then again, it's Opus.
But it's Opus. And also, because there's such a lack of really high-end offices in high-end buildings, as we all know, lack of supply drives demand.
Right.
And what I have found in this industry especially is you can put your price really high, because if you're not looking to sell that unit tomorrow and you can sit on it, someone will come along and
And
someone
buy.
will pay
Right.
the price. And whilst 5,000 per square foot or 7,000 per square foot might seem...
But don't you think this is the beauty of Dubai? Because Dubai has just started when we just talk about...
Yeah.
When we just talk about... When I... there's so many times I listen to people when they're saying that, Dubai is getting overcrowded or stuff. Hang on, pause. You can't say this. They're just literally starting. When we just talk about Dubai, like remember both of us were discussing when you just land on Dubai airport, you see the amount of people coming in, and Dubai is literally become a dream for people like us who are staying in Dubai. We might not realize this, but then there's someone in their house waking up with a dream that I'm thinking that I'll move to Dubai permanently.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I get that, because I have the conversations every day. People complain about traffic, people complain about elevators. But at the end of the day, we were all that person who came here, like at one point, and it's going to continue to grow. The vision is to grow.
Absolutely.
And like you said, obviously for some people, the idea of moving here is like a life
Yes, because
dream.
you literally when you land on Dubai airport, you see the amount of people coming in.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling, and Dubai, it's just started off and it's not been very long. And what Dubai has delivered, the world is in a shock. It's unbelievable to just see. Just generally discussing
Yeah,
about,
of course.
how things have been turning around. You just came from your country. I'm sitting here from my country.
Exactly.
And literally, to be honest, earlier when I think Dubai was starting, let's say 10 years from now, it was back in time 10 years. Dubai would be the second home, but now any person coming in, Dubai would be the first home for them. This is what they think about.
Of course, like whenever you come to Dubai, and I know from having friends or family visit, they all use the same phrase. They all say it's like a different world.
It is.
Because it is like a different world.
It is.
And obviously, so many people are moving here because of the benefits of the safety, the fact that it is such an innovative country.
Remarkable.
It's always pushing boundaries.
Yes.
And then that's before you even get started on the tax benefits, all the other factors that accumulate to such a massive contrast from what people are used to in their home countries. Like, it's a no-brainer that people will relocate here and bring their businesses.
Right. But since you mentioned the tax, just explain what is the taxation system like?
So they reintroduced the corporate tax, which is 9%.
All right.
As far as tax goes in Dubai, obviously everyone's aware there's no income tax. And I do think at some points it becomes inevitable that you do need to bring in some form of taxation system. So whenever it was reintroduced at 9% for corporates, I think if you compare that to globally, where most places still fall between like 20 and 25%,
Right.
9% isn't.
But I just read somewhere about income tax. I don't think I read this statement, I guess, 2 or 3 days back, that Dubai is nowhere near to introducing income
Yeah.
tax at all.
I seen that myself. I think it was
Can you
reshared a million times on Instagram and different platforms
Right.
where they said they've got no interest in introducing
Absolutely.
income
that's-
tax. Whereas if you look at the tax system I'm most familiar with is the UK, where that's 45% if you're a proper high earner. And I would imagine it will increase again at some point
Right.
down the line. And then on top of that as well, even just like the basic tax, which like VAT in most other countries is 20%,
Value-added
VAT
tax.
in Dubai is
Yeah.
5%. So when you look at it as a whole, I don't think you can begrudge 9% corporate tax all that much.
Yeah. But I also see people not understanding this process,
No.
this is a very important point we should be discussing about in
Yeah.
this podcast. You know why? Because it's very important for people to understand how does the taxation system work.
So I have this conversation day in, day out, and I wish there was clearer guidance on it, but unfortunately it's such a grey area. For example, more and more companies are becoming VAT registered, or individuals are becoming VAT registered. So on a lot of the sales of commercial properties, VAT is now being charged on top of the purchase price.
Right.
And when I would say that generally in any sale I do, that is a point of contention because no one understands why they're paying it.
Why are they paying
no
that?
one understands how they're getting it back.
Right.
And by no stretch of the imagination am I a tax expert. So I always say, look, you're best to discuss this with the FTA.
Right.
But no, Dubai, as far as it comes in understanding in
And-
taxes,
yes.
is not.
But imagine the people coming from respective countries are paying so much of tax.
Yeah.
And now when they enter Dubai, they have a question about tax.
About
This
VAT
is-
of all things.
Yes, so that's kind of weird because the amount of taxes you're paying back in your country, that's huge.
Well, the way I always describe it is, for example, if, like you said, you're paying taxes in your home
Of course you
country.
are, yeah.
And essentially, even though you're buying a property, it's still a supply of a good or a supply of a service,
Right.
whatever way you look at it.
Right.
And you wouldn't just go to the shop and say, I don't want to pay the VAT on my whole food shop here because I'm just not interested in doing
You
it.
can't
Like,
do
if they'd tell you, okay, well, like, leave the food and get out. But
You can't do
here,
it.
people think it's like, okay, like, no, I don't want to do it. So
Yeah, but they have to do it.
they have to do it. And
Yes.
obviously, the benefit is there for everyone. If you
And
have
what
a
about the
TRN.
9% corporate tax? How is it like? Do you know about it? How does a company pay 9%?
So as soon as it goes over a threshold of 375,000 dirhams, you're expected to be registered and
9%.
paying.
But I
paying
think
9%.
at the moment it goes above 375,000, it's the amount to be considered after that amount.
Yeah.
So when you're paying your 9% taxes, 375,000 is not included.
No,
So that's
it's-
excluded, which is a really
yeah,
good thing, I guess.
It's above, yeah. So obviously there'll always
Even if
be
it's- yeah, so
thresholds.
even if you make around 25,000, so it'll be 9% of that 25,000 above 375.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's amazing. One area which I personally feel that which is upcoming and which will be pretty much close to Business Bay downtown area or might surpass would be the south part of Dubai. This is what I feel.
Yes. So I think there is a lot of exciting prospects coming up in Dubai South, absolutely. And I know that you're going to be able to tell me all I need to know about that.
It's literally very strange to see that people are not able to see this coming in. Why? Because we need to understand it in this way. Whenever any city has grown in a country, how has it grown? What made it grow? The amount of people coming in, the business happening, societies being built. This happens because, a bunch of people come in and they're expats. So the consumption is there, right? The production is there. When we talk about the south part of Dubai, now when we look at the map of Dubai, for example, you being in Dubai for quite some time now, if we talk about Sheikh Zayed Road,
Yes.
parallel to it, let's consider the sea part of it. How much space is left? It's bare. It's you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
It's-
there's not a whole lot of space. For example, well, you and I were on a balcony
Yep.
at that meeting a couple of days back, and when you look across,
Yep.
everywhere is getting relatively congested,
It's congested.
and built up.
Yeah.
And when you look at the space that there is out by the new airport, which is coming,
Coming in.
all the land that there is still to be utilized.
Utilized. And I also think that, one thing I really want to make it clear, when people talk about Dubai, that and they have their own notion that, oh, you know what, it's a bubble, it's just going to go down. It's all about supply and demand. I want to make this thing really clear that there are smart brains, there are companies behind who are analyzing stuff, and that's how a city is built. It's not one person waking up one day and saying that, you know what, I want to spread my city towards, let's say, Dubai South. No. There are consultancies involved. There are so many people. There are smart brains sitting down. The masterminds are there. And they know what kind of crowd is coming in. For example, right now, currently, last year, 2024, the amount of people came in was 70 million people just as visitors. Do you know this?
Yeah, well, interesting that you should say that. Obviously, someone hasn't woken up one morning and decided to go absolutely maverick. There is brains, there is some of the biggest accountancy firms, everything in the world, which will be called in to discuss on these matters. And I keep hearing over and over again, oh, there's going to be a crash in 2027. But
I'll tell you why are they saying this. I'll tell you why they're saying this. So it's like, a bunch of people sitting together. We don't know about the stats at all.
yeah,
There are people who don't know about the stats. And how many people are coming in? How many people are literally buying? We don't know about it. But the government knows about it. They're very well aware about it. Do you think that Dubai would just let this happen? That they would just let it drop? They would just send it out? No. The whole thing we need to understand here is that people, I'll tell you at that point when you said that, it's going to crash in 2027. It'll never crash. Why? For example, there are few developers which are introducing their products and they will be delivering 2027.
yes.
All right. So half of the brokers out there, they would just think about, oh, there's a lot of inventory which is going to come in, but where are the buyers? Now, for example, I'm not able to sell. For example, I'm not able to sell. And I think, who's going to buy it? You get my point?
Yeah.
But then the person who's literally selling day in, day out, they have a pipeline, they know how to sell, it's never going to stop. And a very important point to discuss, on genuine basis, when we talk about, let's say the prices are going up,
Yes.
okay? Very interesting point. So let's consider that the price has gone up by 10%, for example. A person would say, for how long will the prices keep going up? You know how long? This is a part of law of nature. This keeps going up. In my country, maybe let's say 15 years back, I purchased a thing for, for example, 1 dirham. Today it's for 5 dirham. I'm still buying it.
Actually, really interesting point you should say that is I had a conversation with a gentleman, and it was in August. There was somewhat of an underpriced sale in a building I work on. Guy needed the cash quick, wanted to get out, so he was willing to sell for 1,250 per square foot.
All right.
This gentleman was offering 1,200 per square foot. Wouldn't come up the extra 50 dirhams, which was mind-boggling to me. Same gentleman comes back to me a couple of months later down the line saying, what's the best price you can get in the building now?
Right.
And I say 1,600 per square foot at a push. So
All
that's
right.
a couple of months and it's jumped 400. He said to me, I'll just sit and wait for a good deal. What? But you sat and waited from August to 4 months later and it's went up by 400 per square foot. So what do you think is going to happen? And now the same units are selling for 1,900 per square foot.
Absolutely.
That's in less than a year.
Absolutely. But people are thinking, the problem is that people are thinking that this is going to stop. No, it's never going to stop. Go back, go talk to your father,
Yeah.
go talk to your grandfather and ask him that, let's say, how much was a movie ticket for? It's going to be much cheaper, right?
Yeah.
This is how it's been happening across the globe for, let's say, hundreds and hundreds of years.
And I also just think that Dubai has the benefit of other countries' failures, so to speak. Things going wrong in other countries are pushing people towards Dubai. That's probably only going to get worse in other countries. I don't see that. Is the UK going to overnight completely change? No, it's not. People are going to continue to relocate for safety, for whatever other benefits they see in Dubai. And that's not going to change. When we were just preparing for this podcast, I think I read a statistic, and albeit it relates to businesses,
Right.
at the end of 2020, there was 450,000 registered businesses. At the end of 2024, there was over 1 million. That's 152% increase in growth. And you're going to try and say that the next 4 years won't be the same again, not just for businesses, but these businesses aren't coming out of nowhere. This is people moving to Dubai.
Correct.
Loads of multinational corporations are relocating their entire headquarters
Right.
to Dubai. I'm getting calls from people saying, can I get full buildings for my staff to come and live in because I'm moving my entire business to Dubai.
Imagine. That's big.
It's not going to come to this halt that I think some people imagine in 2027
Right.
at all. And on that topic, when you have been talking about Dubai South, why do you feel like that area is such an attractive area now to expats and people moving over to Dubai?
For me, it's pretty attractive. And any person who can understand this, it's very attractive for them as well. So now look at it from the demographics point of view. When these guys are building world's largest airport, do you know what is the projection? How many people would come in? Do you know any tentative idea?
I'm not good with numbers, so I
I'll
wouldn't
tell
even
you,
embarrassingly haggle.
No, I'm just generally asking.
Get it, go for it. Anything that goes over 1,000, my mind goes blank.
That's okay. It's a
Tell
general
me.
conversation. So imagine that from 160 million to 200 million people would be coming in annually.
Oh,
Right now, 70 million people came in 2024. So do you understand what numbers are we talking about? Now that huge size of the airport, the amount of people coming in, where are they going to stay? Who will cater them? Do you understand
Yeah,
this? It's mind-boggling. So that area where the airport is, and you pick any city in the world which has the airport, any area right next to the airport literally goes up.
yeah, of course.
I was just watching someone's podcast the other day, and he said that I would not if it's personally me, I would not invest in south of Dubai, which I found very weird that, if you invest in that place now, for example, the average price per square feet is 800 dirhams to, let's say, 1,200 dirhams per square feet.
Yeah.
Now go back in time when Dubai was just being built and the airport was being built. Pick up the price and see, and check the price now. And that was the time when Dubai did not even have that kind of fame.
Well, there is a guy I actually work with in White & Co. And naturally, when people start in real estate, you'll understand this. I think there's almost like a snobbery around what elements people want to work in. Like,
Right.
people don't generally want to do like JBC. They don't generally want to do Dubai South because they think they should be on the palm making like the millions.
That's the problem, yeah.
And actually, this guy started about, I'd say, a year ago in White & Co. Had the foresight, is a family man, understands the importance of like community,
Right.
expat,
Correct.
the feels in
Yes.
certain areas.
Yes.
He focused solely on Dubai South, and he got made an associate director this year off the back of that because he
I saw that
built
post. Yeah.
so much commission by just really, truly believing in an area. And
Which area was it?
Dubai South.
And now imagine this.
He backed Dubai South. He got on with it. He's seen the foresight. He really immersed himself in the community. He lives there himself. And
Because, Leona, that's the future.
Yeah.
If we don't understand this, we're talking about Business Bay. Down the line, 10 years, we'll be talking about Dubai South.
yeah, of course.
Airport is coming there, all right? They're just building a sustainable city. What do we mean by sustainable city? They're just going to get solar energy. They're
Yeah.
just putting in a lot of greens out there.
Which is something Dubai really doesn't have.
Yes.
Like, there's no countryside feel that you're
Absolutely.
really going to get. Like, I think maybe Al Barari at certain aspects of there, you have
Right.
that feel. But obviously the price point of Al Barari is very high
It is.
as well. So
It
it's
is.
not attainable for maybe families
is.
relocating.
Yeah, so I look at Dubai South in a way, if I look at Bitcoin when it just started off. You know what I mean?
Everyone wishes they had bought 12 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this has to go out of the people, and they should know about it. That why airport is there. It's okay. For example, let's not consider the airport. For example, let's not consider. You've got entire Dubai to just invest. You can keep investing, but airport gives a kick. The other big problem which I've seen, what people are facing is, they think that if they're staying, let's say, 20 minutes away from the airport, they're saying that it's going to be too loud, and we will listen to a lot of airplane sound, but that's really not it. Because if you look at the scale of the airport, I would just really want to show you the scale of a car, and then zoom it out till the scale of the airport. I pray that nothing goes wrong, but even if something goes wrong on the airport, a person staying 20 minutes away would not even know about it, what's happening.
I also think Dubai is very much at the forefront of making everything the best it possibly can be for its residents. So if anyone thinks that they're going to have thought, we're just going to put this airport here, we don't care if it keeps people awake at night, we don't care. That's not the country we're in.
This is what I'm saying. That it's not one person waking up one day and saying that this is what I want to do. So it's a strategy gone behind this.
Of course.
And this airport is not going to cater all of the people coming in. It's going to cater business, a lot of business logistics. These guys, there would be around, I think, 18,000 tons of cargo being managed from here. I'm not really clear about this number, but then it's huge.
And if I'm correct, you told me in passing that the airport is going to be something like 36,000 acres.
Yes,
Which is
that's going to be 36,000
ginormous.
This
So I don't think that's going to be an issue with people nearby.
Yes, and it's
hearing
world's
things.
largest airport.
Yeah.
So I think Dubai South would be the best place to invest right now, according to me. And a person who's investing right now, okay, I'll make it clear, it's not for quick flipping at all. You want to earn money, or you want to stay there. You buy now, you can stay there. But if you want to make money out of it, like you think like an investor, you got to wait at least, let's say, 3 years, 3.5, 4 years.
But if you think about, like, for example, Talal Gaf, a lot of people bought in there in the last couple of years.
4 years.
My own manager made like crazy profit off the back of like less than 1 year from what.
How much was it? I think I read somewhere Tilal Al Gaf touched 100% of the profit.
Yeah, he made, I can't remember the exact
Capital
figures off the
appreciation.
top of his head, but he bought an Elan in January, upgraded a little bit, put a pool in, which none of them have, sold it then January just gone by, got a Harmony, like, and made a really substantial property or profit on the property. And I think, like you said, with some time, if you give Dubai South the time,
Yes.
the opportunity is there too.
Let's look at Expo City.
And the impact that.
Imagine
Yeah.
Expo City. It's gone so well. It's done absolutely amazing. It's just become a business center, and people want to stay there.
And even there's more commercial. There is really nice. The commercial offices in Dubai South are actually stunning. And again, they're holding out for larger companies, like some of the big car companies. Anything that it will really benefit being close to the airport for people coming in and out for quick meetings.
Right.
That is what they're they're targeting.
Exactly. I've also heard that the government has kind of supported the IT sector to literally move to Dubai South because that place is pretty much focused by the Dubai government right now. So companies like Microsoft, Oracle,
Yeah.
HP, they would be just moving in there. So imagine the amount of the quality of people would be coming in, and you know. The amount of people coming in as a whole when we talk about tourists, that place is to be.
And if you were looking at it from someone who's relocating with the family, young kids, what is the projection on schools, hospitals,
Of course.
amenities?
So again, like going back to the same point. So when they're thinking about this is the first thing the Dubai government would take care of. That's hospitals, schools, because you're moving in as a family.
Of course.
So that's mandatory. You just can't go without it. So this goes without saying. And apart from this, there would be, I think, health centers and a lot of sports centers as well, where you can just probably do your day-to-day activity, is what I've heard.
Okay.
So as a whole, it's going to be outstanding place to be in.
And generally, if I was looking for myself or I had a client who was interested, what would be the going rate? Say you needed like a four-bedroom villa, so to speak. What price per square foot are you
so
looking
average
at?
price per square feet in Dubai South would be from 800 dirhams per square feet would go up to, let's say, 1,300 or 1,400 dirhams per square feet.
Okay.
Yeah, which is a really good point to enter in.
I always find it phenomenal when I look at the price per square foot for a residential unit, which essentially you might live in, or what people pay for their offices. Like, it always blows my mind. For example, I live in a lovely one-bed apartment. I pay
Right.
90k, and I begrudge paying 90k rental for that.
Right.
But then I look at some of the offices which people are charging 90k for in Business Bay, and
tiny place.
you honestly couldn't swing a cat in them. Like,
You cannot.
they are tiny. So when you tell me that you can get an actual like villa for that price,
That price.
It-
But I'll also tell you, but from that tiny place, people would still make a lot of money, because it's Dubai.
well, one of the interesting things, and actually I had this conversation with someone in work the other day, the reason that commercial is still so booming in Dubai is because everything is driven towards having an office space. Yes, okay, more online ajaris are becoming a thing, but if you want to open, for example, you've opened your own business, you understand that.
Right.
Your visa allocation is allocated to the amount of per square foot you have.
Absolutely.
Generally, the going is say like 1 visa per like 80 per square foot, 100 per square foot. So people are almost pushed towards having to get an office space, even if it is a tiny office space. And not many other countries as well, to my understanding, will your Ajari, which obviously you need, and your trade license be linked together. So
Right.
you'll appreciate when you were getting your trade license, you have to have a registered address of some
Absolutely. But
description.
I think this is one good thing about Dubai, that it goes by the rules. And
Very
every
much.
person just putting their foot in this city, or probably UAE as a country, they know that, you have to obey the rules.
Yeah.
You can't just mess around. And this is what I think keeps it going. The discipline keeps it going.
Yeah.
That's the best thing. When we talk about Dubai South, for example, and we were just discussing about Business Bay. There are residential, there would be commercials, right? As a whole, I personally think it would be a whole new city being built out there.
If everything was to relocate a bit further out, do you mean as in they're making almost a second city in Dubai South?
Yes.
Yes.
It's almost a second city. So people, if they don't invest now, they're going to miss on this train.
Well, obviously there's the glitz and glam that surrounds like downtown and whatnot, but primarily a lot of people invested in downtown originally because of its proximity to the airport we currently have.
Absolutely.
So I do think people will see the same drive and draw towards Dubai South. Now, I might sound uneducated because obviously residential isn't my go-to, but what will be then the structure of Dubai South? Is there going to be high-rise apartment buildings? Is there going to be
a mix of it.
Yeah.
So Dubai South, it's going to be a mix of, let's say, villas, townhouses, and high-rise apartments.
Okay.
But again, it's not clear what is the height of that high-rise.
Okay.
Right? But then, of course, we can just look at this project by Damac. They just launched Riverside.
Yes.
So it's there we go. So it's a mix of townhouses as well as apartments. So I think it would be around G+10 approximately.
Okay.
Yeah.
G+10 is nice. It's not too.
Could be approximately.
Yeah.
Could be a little more. But then there are developers just investing their money there, and then they just look at it this way that people are going to stay there for sure. Dubai, that's the future. When you land on the airport, imagine you just traveling to Dubai South from the current airport. Does that make sense?
Well, I think there's a real surge at the minute as well of people who, for example, have plots of land out that way and developers going into joint ventures because everyone kind of, you would hope, wins in that situation. And there's ample plots of land for it to be done out
There's
in
a lot of space, yes.
Dubai South.
Yes, and it's being well catered, I guess.
So Dubai, obviously, transport is a major thing for everyone in Dubai. A lot of people rely heavily on the metros. What is the transport
So yeah,
system
the
gonna be like?
transportation, if you just check the roads which are coming there, which are there, it's not coming there, the roads are there. That is Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, this is one. And then the second road is Emirates Road.
Oh, yes, okay.
So I think there it is. And I read somewhere the metro is coming there too. I have the map of it.
They have been extending. I know that they have been extending.
Yes, the metro is coming there. I think it was Blue Line which is
Yeah.
coming, if I'm not wrong. But I think I have it in my phone. But yeah, that was there. So I think transportation shouldn't be a problem. And Dubai, any city growing out in the world, the best thing I personally feel is that rectifying your mistakes. When you consider that as a progressive city, for example, you do something and there's a lot of traffic coming in. You build something and there's a lot of traffic coming in. What happens is that everyone knows how to complain about this. But what is the turnaround time and when is the decision being taken to rectify it?
Yes.
I think no one can beat Dubai in this.
I understand, obviously, congestion, it has really, really increased. And I had a friend in the UK say to me, oh, I've seen these TikToks saying Dubai is not actually able to cope with the amount of people that are coming. But again, you need to give people time to rectify. I do believe, and I've already seen, look, they've tried to minimise the traffic on Hessa. They've made some changes. Even in the 3 weeks I was home for Christmas, I came back and there was different diversions left, right and centre down to
Business
Bay.
That's great, don't you think so?
So there is initiative, but you need to give time for planning permission,
Yes.
whatnot. It doesn't happen overnight.
Yes.
These things will be rectified.
But they do it pretty quickly. That's what I'm
Very
saying.
quickly.
Very quickly. And this will keep pushing Dubai forward. This is what I feel. So, Liana, tell me, how did COVID impact Dubai?
So when you look in comparison to how around the world was impacted by COVID, and again, my main point of reference would be the UK, where we were almost in lockdown for 2 years. They just couldn't get a grasp on it.
Right.
Dubai really sternly implemented a 6 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks process where everything was locked down effectively. You had to get police permits to go out on the street. And that meant that obviously they combated the issue quite quickly, and there was no real need for everyone to start working from home. It wasn't such a lengthy process that offices and whatnot were becoming redundant. And if you look at why, I briefly touched on it earlier, how people still need to tie their visa quotas to their offices or their trade license to a registered office. And if you think about the fact that commercial spaces are still so important in Dubai, working from home is not as much of a thing here. I don't, none of my friends work from home. There might be hybrid, one day at home and predominantly in the office. But when you look at the likes of London or anywhere else where there was major lockdowns, people really moved away from office spaces and going into the office every day, and working from home became a massive impact. And I think that is actually one of the beauties of Dubai is, would I be able to go and work in another country, maybe as successfully in commercial real estate? Probably not, because it's almost a concept that an office space is redundant. People begrudge having to go to an office now if you work in the likes of London or anywhere else. But that impact never really came to Dubai, which I think is amazing for me.
In the entire world.
Exactly, yeah. Like,
that's pretty amazing. This is Dubai.
100%.
Yes. All right, Rihanna, so it was really good talking to you. But I think we would just keep making a couple of more podcasts like we've planned.
Yeah, 100%. The first of many. And looking forward to the next one.
Let's pull it off. Right. All right, thanks.
Perfect. Thank you so much.